Hello, everybody. Let us make sure all is well. Hi, live from Denver. It is Friday night. Welcome to another edition of Critical Conversations, the live show where you get to talk to us. You, our critics, our wonderful critics out there, and us, your hosts. And I am Chris Shelton, and I am joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
And we are happy to be with you on this glorious day. Now, actually, I should get some environmental effects going here. If you are seeing some snowflakes on your screen, do not attempt to adjust the dial. Your monitor is not broken. It is snowing here in Denver. And we have been getting some snowfall this week.
Yes.
And it's been, just such a wonderful time putting boots on and freezing our little butts off. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Happy to see all you guys in the comment section here, all the usual suspects. And we are very, very happy to be with you. Now, of course, education and emotion. Gee, what's on my mind right now?
Huh.
Yeah, it's that time. It is crunch time. I decided that, this is an easy show now that everything is kind of set up and rolling and I've kind of got everything working. It's a pretty easy show to get going and do. So This isn't, radical. I don't have to go do hours of prep or work or outlining to do this show. And sometimes I do. In some of the things where I've done long talks about certain topics, I've done a lot of prep, but this week, not so much. I am definitely like, okay, take a break. Good. Go over here. Let's get to it. And, man, I got to tell you, I've been having a really interesting time, the last couple of weeks. I was, it wasn't always fun being around me.
No.
When I was writing papers.
No,
it wasn't. I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I kind of suck. When it was 15 months ago that I started this project, this program, this master's program in the psychology of coercive control, and I've been keeping you guys updated, just like I said I would, and it's influenced my content in tremendous ways. And Melissa must be the adult super. That is exactly who Melissa is. It has been a real slog fest in some ways. It has been amazing and truly life-changing in others. And I'm so close, I can taste it. It's right there. It's a week and a half away. It's that close. And hey, Brighton. John. Hey, man. Cool. Yeah, good time. So it's that close. And so I've kind of I don't know how I'm feeling today. It's this weird feeling. I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I'm happy, I'm excited. There are some things happening or maybe happening in the future with the research that I'm doing. There's possibilities of being able to continue this research, and that's all I'm going to say about it right now. It's really exciting. I am way too guilty of oversharing way too much too early, so I'm not going to do that this time. But I am just saying that the future is got some interesting possibilities in it in regards to the work I might be doing, and not a job offer or something. I'm just talking about the kind of work I'm doing, and I'm just so close. So it's not done. I've still got a shitload of work to do, and I know that, and I've only got this like week and couple days to do it. And so I'm like, ugh. But at the same time, it's like it's right there. I can see it. Ugh. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just taking a little break from that. I was very, 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 very worried and very, 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 very anxious about my initial papers that I was writing for this program. And now that I'm doing the biggest paper, and it's 15,000 words. It's about 40 typed pages. It's not like it's War and Peace or something. It's not a doctorate. I'm not going to have to defend it. It's really just a paper, but it's a paper based on research I did. And I have to do it in a certain format and style and everything. And so I'm feeling a little emotional. And but it's a different kind of emotion this time. It's not the anxious, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing kind of feeling that I had through most of the year. And this is what I wanted to talk about. This is the show. This was actually the kind of the thing I wanted to talk about with the show. So, so I'm only going to get a little bit because I also want to get to you and your quote, and I don't want to just leave you hanging here while I'm going on at a mad rate. Yeah. Well, I've lived my whole life. I haven't lived academia my whole life. That's the thing that actually stresses me out about this. Talking about the cult stuff is easy. Talking about how to write academically, how to do thematic analysis or directed content analysis, or actually the hybrid that I'm doing, and applying it to this stuff. And then also, by the way, just for added bonus of fun, is I'm right back into the lectures that I was researching in the first place, and going line by line and pulling the quotes from them to make my case and make my argument. And there's no shortage of quotes to do, to pull. Hubbard is these 5 lectures I've analyzed are riddled with insanity. They are crazy talk. I can't believe I actually listened to this stuff and thought it made sense before. So it's been a really, really, really interesting a time with this, but I'm feeling a lot more confident about what I'm doing, even though I'm still nerve-wracked about it, if that makes any sense. And probably any of you guys who have done post-grad work know exactly what I'm talking about. So R.R. Smith, thank you very much for that. That's awesome. Thank you. Are we at all helpful in your studies? Yeah, you are. Absolutely. In a number of ways. Feedback, positive criticism, ideas. I mean, all kinds of things have been helpful over this time in my work. Absolutely. So anyway, oh, that's interesting, Alex. I've not heard about that person. Huh. I'll have to check into that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Cocaine is not okay. Thank you, Red Pill. Let's go to your quote.
Okay, quotes. Remember?
Quotes, yes. Quotes.
So this one is first, kind of about education and emotion. It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men, which is Frederick Douglass saying that quote. And
it's easier to repair...
It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men.
I would absolutely agree with that sentiment. I don't know that we've really totally figured out yet how to do that in terms of building strong children, right? I think we're still hit and miss on some of that, but I definitely agree that that it takes a lot less effort to do that than it does to repair people after they're already set in their ways and stuff. Because once all the stuff kicks in and you start having independent thinking and you move into that phase of your life, you're not as open to being helped. You're not as open to learning from other people as when you're younger,
Exactly.
So a lot easier, I think, to do that with the kids.
Yeah. All right. And then the second quote is just because I, as you all know, 7 passed a little over 2 months ago, and I'm still grieving. So this quote that I came across online felt relevant. Imagine living with a scream inside of you, and this scream is yours, and no one else hears it. That is grief. And that's from a Widow's Hope group.
Nice. True, too.
Yeah.
Yes, Alex, that was interesting. And yes, Henny, it did help me. And I love your quotes too. Just responding to some of the comments there. Yeah, those are powerful stuff. Remember that show we did a couple months ago on 5 stages of grief and the process of that. There's no timetable set on that thing.
Nope.
It takes what it takes. And I'm just going to say to all of you guys out there, as I have said to you so many times, and myself in this process, there is no substitute for experience or for time. It's a factor you can't control. It's not under our jurisdiction. as to how long it's going to take us to get over something. And when you are as emotionally invested in a relationship as I know you were with Seven, and as we get with people and animals, there is no normal grieving time. I don't even know where I don't even know where that comes from. I swear I don't have any idea. It takes what it takes for each person to feel what they need to feel. And all I want to say to all you guys out there is on this process is give yourself permission to feel what you feel. It's okay. We have so much social stigma and so many considerations in our heads about what other people are going to think about us and how we feel. Screw it. Just feel what you feel. Because the fact of the matter is you're going to have to anyway at some point if you really want to move through that process. You're going to have to deal with it at some point. So you might as well just deal with it straight up. Juliana, thank you very much for that super chat.
Yes.
Appreciate that. Are there many Scientologists who are secretive about it so as not to tarnish their public image? Chaka Khan, perhaps, Gurur asks. Yes, there are secret Scientology celebrities. Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know who they all are. Okay. And thank you, Gurur, for that super chat. Yeah. Appreciate that. Hey, Steve. Yeah, happy you're listening too. Yes, Miracles for Breakfast. Oh my God. Yes, I do remember that book. That is basically the book that taught me morality. Basically, because the Way to Happiness wasn't really a thing when I was growing up. It wasn't published until the 80s. And so growing up, I didn't have that. I had Miracles for Breakfast. It was a book written by a Scientologist about Scientology for kids, for lay people. It was not, and there were authors in the 70s who got away with that. There were a couple authors who were writing books using Scientology stuff and talking about how they had applied it in their life and how you could too. And so this book was heavy on communication, on transparency, on being honest, on being open about your problems, your issues, with your parents and vice versa. And that was where the Miracles for, if I remember right, the Miracles for Breakfast term came from what Ruth was doing with her kids, sharing successes and positivity and good things at meal times. And they called it Miracles for Breakfast. And that's how she came up with the title for the book. That book had a lot to do with my upbringing. I hadn't even thought about it in a long time. But yeah, that was a very, very, very influential book. Because it was a book I could read as somebody below 10 years old. I was a real avid reader. So I was reading above my grade level and my age. But it was still a book I could read, where I could not really easily read Hubbard when I was a kid. It was not easy for me to try to make heads or tails of his nonsense. Anyway, yeah, so thanks for mentioning that one. Did you have more that you wanted to say on those or on that thing?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, I really like those.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that grief one, we were talking about that midweek, and that was...
Yeah, it's true, because no one, even if they're grieving the same person or pet, they're not grieving it the same way. That's just not possible. So no one really knows what you're feeling.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's, if you think about empathy and compassion and understanding people, and I think about this a lot, you come up with some really interesting... I think I'm going to let this person go. I'm not sure what these weird comments are, but... I'm just going to say bye. Okay. Sorry about that. Just noticed some weird something in the comments there, and I don't like that, so I'm getting rid of it. Anyway, it is fascinating, because you come to realize, and this is something maybe you guys can think on, just food for thought, is you're not experiencing what the other person's actually experiencing when you're empathizing with them. You're creating an idea based on your own history, your own emotional history and event history of what you imagine this person is feeling based on how you believe you would feel in those same circumstances or experiencing that same thing. And that's the best we can do. And often it's just fine. It's not. This isn't a problem. This isn't like a lack. It's just an interesting way of thinking about what we're really doing when we're saying "I understand" or "I feel you" or that kind of thing. Is, well, you do to the degree you can, but you're not really in that other person's head, and you're really not getting exactly what they're thinking or feeling or saying. You know. Oh, thank you for that. Oh, that's a good question. R.R. Smith, super chat again. Thank you for that. Do you see a parallel between religious belief, politics, and science? Science may seem weird, but in relation to evolution. If I understand your question right, R.R., yes, I definitely see straight parallels. I mean, literally one-for-one comparisons between religious belief and political ideology. Yes, absolutely. We have the same kind of psychological mechanisms are at play there. As far as science, evolution, only to the degree that people can get into a sort of faith-based belief in science. People who don't understand it tend to do that, or don't understand certain parts of it. And I think we all have to go there to a degree. It's not a logical fallacy or an appeal to authority to rely on scientifically trained people for scientifically trained information. The appeal to authority fallacy is when I go to Neil deGrasse Tyson and say, what's the best pancake I should be eating? I mean, it has nothing to do with his field of study. If I go to him and I want to know about Pluto, he's going to be able to tell me all about Pluto for hours. I'm going to hear more about Pluto than I've ever wanted to hear about. That's the authority end of him. That's totally fine. We need that. Having faith in authorities is not the same thing as the kind of faith that we have in a religious or an ideological sense. Okay, it's a different. I'd say it's a different flavor of it. It's a more. I'd say when you can fall back on science and citation and evidence, then you're falling back on something that is not just, an airy-fairy faith-based idea. It's that you can point to real things in the real world and say, there's a reason I think this and believe this. And with evolution, you can do that. You don't have to buy the evidence. You don't have to look at all the evidence and go, well, no, that's not how I see it. And science welcomes such approaches. Oh, if you have another explanation for all this evidence, please let us know what it is. I'd love to hear it. And if it explains all the evidence in a rational way, we're good. That's how science moves forward. But evolution is not shouldn't be a faith-based idea. It shouldn't be something you believe in. It's the logical explanation for all the available evidence we have. It's a very different approach to how to deal with information or thought or faith. And I hope that answers the question. Yeah, he is definitely sick of Pluto. That is right. You guys are asking questions now. Cool. I wanted to say a few more things first about the topic of the show, and then I might get into some of that. And of course, how could I have forgotten? Good, only 3 minutes. Hey, Henny.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Melissa.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much. Hugs to you both. Congratulations, Chris. I know everything is going to work out for you, and I'm glad you're taking the time you need for your paper.
Thank you.
And I'm so proud. I really am. And I know it's going to be phenomenal, as you are.
Thank you.
And I know you're going to teach us so much, really, really, people need to be taught, and people need to learn.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the topic tonight of thank you, education and emotion. I always looked at it as intellect, which is education and emotion. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's on two sides of the brain, two different sides of the brain, operating in one head. And that is so difficult. Do you know?
Yes.
I can intellectualize a lot of things, but emotionally, I'm very far behind on my intellect, if you can dig that
Yep. I think I do.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is an important topic because it touches on, people come from perspectives and ideologies and emotions, and that affects a very big part of what they base reality in.
That's right. In
And-
fact, I would argue that that's pretty much everything they base their reality on.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
It's insane because it's not the correct way to think critically.
No, it's really not a very disciplined way of approaching things, and yet it's our natural thing. So we're constantly fighting that. That's right.
Well, we have to learn how to fight even harder for that.
That's right.
Because it's imperative that we deal with reality and with rational thought.
Yep.
I mean, you're speaking about science, and if people want to believe that the Earth is flat, it's just I don't get it. I mean, and I'm glad that there's a very minute number of people who believe that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly.
But
Exactly. Yeah, we do make a little bit of a mistake in thinking there's a lot more of the lunatic fringe than there are because they're so damn noisy.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm sorry I cut you off there.
No, you didn't. I'm surprised they didn't read L. Ron's book,
Yeah,
Be noisy,
right?
Be noisy. Because they certainly are. And a very small number can do damage, though.
Yeah, they
and
can.
they can be noisy.
Yes.
And it goes beyond annoyance and harassment. It's
Yep.
abuse.
That's right.
When
That's right.
when things get out of hand, and as they have been getting out of hand,
Yep.
But that's because people are not thinking logically.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more.
I really wish that there was some kind of balance. I know there's a yin and a yang, and I know we can't have one without the other. I'm not so, disillusioned in that belief, but I think there has to be more of a rationalization.
Exactly. We really need to. It's a matter of learning. It's emotional intelligence, I think, is what we're looking for here. Like if we could understand and kind of grapple with our emotions a little bit more bluntly, a little bit more honestly and openly, rather than try to hide them and feel like this is something we have to suppress and not talk about and shame and all of that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that.
But I think we do have to come clean with ourselves.
Yeah.
And say, I mean, look, it's not easy. I'll be the first one to admit it. It's not easy to say I was wrong.
Mm-mm.
No. Oh, it's the hardest thing to say. Other than I don't know.
Okay, it really is.
I was wrong and I don't
is.
know are the three hardest hardest phrases for people to say.
Yeah, but I think, even I was wrong goes even beyond I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I don't know is an honest answer.
That's
If you don't know something.
that's
You know?
right. Yes.
But to admit that you did something wrong is taking ownership and responsibility.
Yep.
And I don't think many people know how to do that. I just don't.
I think that we have. I think it's a matter of we are a little weird, especially in the United States, where you and I are most familiar. I can't speak to other countries totally on this, but I'm pretty sure it's the same everywhere. Is we overdose on the shame, on the blame, shame, and regret side of the equation when we're raising kids, and we have these puritanical, weird, stupid, moral things that we do. You can't talk about this with kids. You can't talk about that with kids. And I'm not suggesting that we take 4-year-olds and talk to them about orgies. You introduce this stuff, a bit at a time, but we could be a lot more emotionally honest with kids about this and raise them to be more aware of and open about the emotional experiences they're having. And I think that would help a lot. What do you think?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I like that, Chris. Oh, you're so good. All right. I'm going back to the show. I hope you have a lot more callers, and I hope everybody is enjoying. I know I am.
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Eddie.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chris. Night.
All right. Cool deal. Yeah, good stuff. And yeah. And yes, the call-in line is open. 984-214-4154. Do call us. That is a call-in show, and I would love to hear from you guys. I also don't like to have a quiet mic for very long, so I will just keep going.
He will.
But this is a call-in show, and I would love to talk to you guys. I was going to say, oh yes, Henny is a real sweetheart. And by the way, you guys on the East Coast, take care of yourselves this weekend. We heard you're going to have a real snow dump. We just had a big one here. Not like I think you guys are about to have, though.
Not a big one.
Yeah, I mean, we had a few inches. I hear it's going to be feet out there, so
it's going to be way worse on the East Coast.
Yeah.
We had a mild storm.
Hey, thanks, Mike, for that super chat.
Thank you.
Awesome. Maybe add karaoke to the show. You don't want that. You do not want that. Trust me.
Nobody wants that.
No, you do not. Yeah, Isaac Asimov. There we go. Great quote, X-Sign. The saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. Yeah, it's a thing, guys. It's a slow process. But I wanted to talk about this with the education thing. Because I have this experience. I have this thing that happens to me every time I learn new stuff. And I can't help but wonder or think or hope that other people have this too. And that is that the more I understand about something, the less outraged I can be about it. And I mean really understand something. I don't mean read a headline, read a news story, and suddenly I'm fine with, genocide. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, when there's conflict, when there's a problem, when there's an issue, drugs, education, literacy, war, all this kind of crap, you dig in and you dig in and you dig into the details and you learn more and more and more about it. Or actually, here, real world example, cults, right? I mean, I was really upset about cults for a really long time, and I am still very, very motivated to do something about them, but I don't any longer feel that twisted knot of anger and hate and towards cults and cult leaders, because I understand them now. And I understand the cycle of victimization and the fact that most people who are victimizing others were themselves victimized. And again, it's not an excuse. It's an understanding so that you can do something about it.
Right.
And I wanted to communicate about this because I think because now when I look at things that really emotionally rile other people up, I don't really feel that same way, although I completely understand why they would get so riled up, right? Makes sense. It's outrageous. It's crazy what some people get away with. But it's not the same level of outrage that we see expressed on social media all the time by people who are just knee-jerk reacting to a headline or a meme or a story or a picture or something. And I think that is important, and I wanted to make that point. So now that we have a call, and we're going to take it. Okay, is this Robert? Hello?
No, it's Christina.
Oh, Christina,
Yeah,
hello.
Christina.
Sorry about that. You have a question.
It's okay. I do. Well, I've been meaning to call for many times, but I have a question for Melissa this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, well, I could be mistaken. A while ago, I think you mentioned that Melissa came from unfortunate situation also. Maybe not a cult per se, but something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I had an unfortunate childhood.
You could say a broken home.
Yeah.
In some ways.
Okay. Sorry if I stick my nose into.
Oh, no,
not
it's
my
fine.
business.
It's fine.
That's all good. It's
Well, I thought maybe.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, I was thinking if Chris could do like a podcast with her, she could be the interviewee and sort of.
Well, we have done some shows, and you've been on my podcast actually, talking about mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we should probably do another show on that actually, because that is something that's near and dear to both of our hearts.
too incredibly personal on my stuff, but
Yeah, to the degree you want to, baby.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But yeah, that's what we've done some shows on, and you might check those out if you haven't seen them. But but that's a great suggestion. We should definitely do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. I'll be looking forward to that one. I mean, I haven't missed any of your podcasts for the past few years.
Awesome.
Well done, you.
Well, thank you very much for calling. Did you?
Yeah.
Was there anything other than the general thing you've said about wanting to see more and her? Is there anything specifically you'd like to see her talk about?
Not exactly. No, whatever you're up to, you don't have to put out your whole life.
Of course. Excellent. Well, I just wanted to make sure I got all of your suggestion there. So thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Awesome,
well
man.
done, both of you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey.
Awesome. All right, cool. All right. As far as what should be our karaoke song, I have an idea, but what do you think?
Well, probably the one I can do the best is Time of Your Life by Green Day. Good riddance.
Really?
But I'm not that good at karaoke, so.
Me neither. You really don't want to hear me sing. I am telling you, you'll never look at me. I don't want you to hear me sing. You'll never look at me the same again. But if we had to have a signature song, I would. Oh gosh, let me think about this for just a second. Unchained Melody.
That's a hard one to sing.
That's a hard one to sing, though. I know. I got that deep voice, but I don't know if I could pull that off.
Yeah. What
about our Elvis song?
Yeah, Can't Help Falling in Love. Yeah.
I could do that.
Yeah.
Can't Help Falling in Love. That was our wedding song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that.
Okay.
Okay, we'll call that.
Acceptable. Yeah.
We'll do that one. Okay, good. Or if it was a duet, if we were doing karaoke, a duet style, maybe. I don't know if we could pull it off, but I've had the time of my life.
Oh yeah.
I would do that with you. I would sing that song with you because that would I feel that way. Yeah. We would do that. Thank you, guys. All right. So, mental health topics. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we can dive in on some of that. Oh, in fact, that speaks to something I wanted to comment on real fast. I talked about, I think it was a couple months ago, I mentioned imposter syndrome, this feeling that, I think everybody has it, especially in grad school. I'm told this is a common thing. This isn't something unique to me or because of my cult background or any of that. I think it's just grad school. I think it just does that to you. You get this, like, you're so steeped in this thing and there's so much to learn and you're so surrounded in it and buried in it. And then you start realizing it's Dunning-Kruger in reverse, because the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? In reverse, because you realize how little you know. And you realize how much there is to know and how buried you are under this avalanche of information, which is actually just a little thimbleful compared to the amount of raw data that you really want to know about in your field of interest. I mean, I'm all in on this shit and I love it and I want to know everything about it. And yet I know everything I've learned is only, a little thimble compared to the amount of raw information and things still to learn. And I like I said, I think everybody kind of experiences that. And you end up feeling like this imposter syndrome where it's like, well, wait a minute, you're going to give me a degree and people are going to think I know all about this and I don't know shit. What are you talking about? I can't do this. I don't know anything. And you start getting this like, Well, let me tell you that, again, as I'm reaching the end of this thing, it's really, you got to do the work. There's no substitute for it. Sitting and pounding out the paper, it really changes you. It itself is part of the learning, I am convinced, because you have to start thinking through your ideas and your arguments and finding the applicable information and citing it. And it really gets you thinking differently. And I realized in doing this, finally, that I'm not an imposter, that I actually do know this stuff, that there's things that there are things to know, and I know them. And I was like, oh shit, wow, hey, look at that. So, so that was also part of that education and emotion thing, you know. But you never really let go of that knowledge. At least you shouldn't let go of that sudden awareness you have that, oh, I really do only know this much of all of this. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to learn and contribute to this body of knowledge, but I'm never really going to have a full grasp of all of it. I just don't have the time or the ability to do that. So I'm going to have to do the best I can. But at least I've got now this really solid, certain base of knowledge that I can fall back on. And I love that. I think that's great. And I think that's part of that process, too, that I wanted to mention. If you can do the work, then you are real. That's a good way of putting it. Exactly. So on that note, I will not feel like a faker. Like I don't want to say I've felt like a total fake, because I've never felt like a fake, but I have felt a little bit like I was talking above my pay grade sometimes when I was getting into some of the mental health stuff. Mm-hmm. And now I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the kind of thing I mean, you know, where you're kind of, you know, years ago, you start getting into the terminology and the you know, the words you use, and you start using the labels out of the DSM, and you start talking about this stuff as though you know something about it. And you can see me pulling back from that now, because I know how much I don't know about all that. And so I don't want to use diagnostic labels to talk about people. I'd rather just use human predator. Serves the bill, and you guys get it, and I get it, and it makes total sense. And I don't have to dive into, you know, difficult to understand and difficult to model and still being worked out terminology that is in the psychiatric realm is not really the best way to talk about cults and cult leaders, actually, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, God, the Neil Young. You know, if I had Spotify, I'd quit it. But I don't have Spotify. Did you hear what happened with...
I did, and I have Spotify, and I didn't quit it. Cause
you're not boycotting?
I'm not boycotting Spotify.
You're not bringing...
Joe Rogan's an idiot, but I'm not... Come on. What if they lose my $10 a month, they'll be really convinced.
You're not bringing Spotify to their knees?
No. I don't know. Yeah. If I had more power, maybe I could bring them to their knees, but I don't have that kind of power.
Yeah, it's
neither does Neil Young.
Oh my God, I actually admire the hell out of what Neil Young
I do too
is doing, and I think wasn't there something today about Barry Manilow or something removing his music library from Spotify also? I actually completely support them. I think I tweeted something about it, because I'm seeing people who were like, oh, who cares? Who's Neil Young? Who's Barry? Like, they matter, you know?
That's why it needs to be a newer, really popular band. Like, I don't know. Like, if 21 Pilots did it or something, or like, I don't know, just give me a super popular band right now. Imagine Dragons. Like, if somebody like that was like, we're taking all our music off of Spotify, Spotify would care.
Yeah, well, of course they would.
Neil Young and Barry Manilow, they're like, you know.
No. But here's the reason why I admire what they're doing. And this is something that you just don't see enough of in public figures. And this is why I'm going to point this out. Is they are doing something purely on moral principles. Purely. It's not a money thing. It's not an exposure thing. Neil Young, Barry Manilow, these guys, they do not need the money. They don't need the exposure. It's not about trying to be interesting or having 15 seconds or anything like that. It's just, no, we're not doing this. This is wrong, and I'm not going to be part of it. And the reason why I admire it and look up to it is because I feel it's the same thing I did with Facebook. It's like it cost me to do that. But it was the right moral decision to make. You just go, no, I'm out, I'm done. I can't be part of what's going on here, and I just disagree with it. Now, I wouldn't particularly do what Neil Young is doing right now if I were him. I wouldn't be pulling my content like that. I'm saying that I admire the reasons he's doing it, and it's his decision to make. you know, and he's doing it because he doesn't want to be on that same place where this.
Yeah, and
you
good
know.
for him for being able to do that. But
Exactly.
I think maybe him and Barry Manilow will inspire someone really big to threaten that.
I mean, you know, we'll see if it starts something else. It could be interesting as a social phenomena, right? But as far as, you know, Nate from New Zealand there, I mean, I basically agree with you, except the laissez-faire kind of, what's the big deal kind of attitude about it is nice. And you have the right perspective. I agree with you. What's the big deal? This guy is a total idiot. He has no idea what he's doing. And he is actually somebody who will tell you that. Rogan has said that out loud many times. He's an idiot and you shouldn't listen to him. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem is that people do. Yeah.
Lots of people.
Lots of people do. And they actually make medical decisions for themselves based on what they hear on his show and his supposed experts. And that's a problem. That is a problem because it becomes a propaganda problem. And it's not a matter of, you know, does Joe Rogan have the right to say these things? Of course he does. Mm-hmm. But when you put a microphone in front of somebody and you're going to broadcast that in front of millions of people, you've got to be aware of the fact that you're talking to people who are not at your level, up and down, and they're going to take what you say and they're going to run with it. So you better make sure what you're talking about is straight. You know, I feel a heavy degree of responsibility, and I got a tiny little show here. Compared to Rogan, I'm nothing. And I feel like I take great pains to try to be careful about the things I say. I've stuck my foot in my mouth plenty of times, but I always try to, you know, walk it back, correct it, whatever, when I can. Bogan, yeah. So, what's this now? People tattoos Rogan's face on their bodies. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's crazy stuff. This kind of fanatical nonsense, right? You know, if like we could teach emotional intelligence, there are classes being done now at high school and college level over in Europe on media literacy. And I'm pretty sure there's programs here in the US on this as well. But this is actually a dedicated effort, I think, in Norway or Finland or something. They're doing some work on this, where they're trying to teach kids, you know, at that age where they're hitting the global media stage of news and reporting, how to read it, how to look at it, how to think about it, and understand the basic difference between facts being reported on and editorial opinion-based content, and how you don't weigh these things the same and that kind of stuff. That media literacy is really, really important. And Rogan really just demonstrates how bad we are at that. I really don't have a problem with Rogan's show. He's had guests on who have said some amazing things, and I've learned incredible things from them. But I do have a problem with his irresponsibility as a broadcaster, as an interviewer, as somebody who should be aligned to facts that he can find. He's got a fact checker right there in real time on his show. So for him to be spewing or having his guests get away with spewing the level of disinformation that they spew is kind of weird, and for me, that part of it is what's unacceptable. I hope that makes sense. But oh, hey, here's another one. I do not know what this is about.
Yeah,
it is the weirdest damn thing. Some kind of. There we go. All right, bye bye. I don't know. We get the weirdest little trolls sometimes.
And then another
Oh,
one.
another one. Hey, look at that. Well, I guess we could spend our whole hour doing this, but whatever. I can do this all day. Anyway, guys. Yeah, getting rid of the spam bots there. Sorry, guys. Did I listen to his experts? Oh, what? Oh, yep. Thank you for that. Typical Pfizer narrative. Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. No, I don't watch Joe Rogan at this point. That's not what I'm doing. I'm working on my paper. All right. Oh, here we go. We have a call. Sorry, I had you on hold there for a little while. Hello, you were on. Hello? Yep.
Hello?
I think
Did we lose him?
we might have lost him. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, it terminated. Okay, let's pick this one up. Hello.
Hello, this
Hey,
is Travis.
Hey, Travis, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, Melissa.
Hello.
Glad to see you on the show tonight.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of random things here. First, I'd like to admit to you guys and the whole world that when I was a kid, I actually did go to a Barry Manilow concert with my parents.
Yes.
Right on.
Rock on.
I was about 11, and I thought I was a big boy, and it was a halfway decent concert, and okay.
Yep.
And he also sang the Dr. Pepper theme song. So all you guys who have a little life experience behind you, you know, he used to sing the ditty there for the Dr. Pepper. So
Yeah, absolutely.
there you go.
Also, who
Now-
can forget Copacabana? Classic.
Yeah.
It's music gold, man. Copacabana.
Hey,
Anyway, please
you're still
carry
trying
on.
to figure out who shot who.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. By the way, I highly suggest that you and Melissa do some more programming about the mental health stuff.
Okay.
Please
Absolutely.
do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
We need more of this. The world needs it.
Absolutely.
Barry Manilow might need it. Okay. So,
Oh, also, something you guys can look forward to is I will be having Rachel back on soon as well. My other.
yeah, I wonder. Look at you.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Just saying. Okay.
Yes, I do too.
All right. Good stuff. Now, listen, here's my Scientology collection for you tonight.
Yeah.
I read a policy it was written by Harvard, produced on the 24th of March in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
And it talks about bonuses for executives.
Okay, fair
Now-
enough. This one you'll have to familiarize me with. I am familiar with bonuses in Scientology, which are pretty much non-existent now. But what did the old policy letter say?
Well, it wasn't very long. It just said that execs of some stripe at the local city orgs would get 2% of the book sales, like the proceeds.
Right.
Now, that was probably ancient history by the time you showed up, right?
That one was, yes. By the time I got into Scientology, the book commissions were actually 10%, I think. The book commissions were 15%, and the e-meter commissions were 10%.
Now, explain that e-meter business right there.
Okay, so if you buy books or materials from Scientology, or if you sell those materials rather to another, then you get a commission, right? If my friend Melissa here needs an e-meter, and I drag her down to the church, and I say, my friend Melissa needs an e-meter, and we go to the bookstore officer who sells e-meters, and I say, she needs one, and he goes, oh, really? And I say, yes. And he proceeds to sell her one. I get the finder's fee or the percentage, the commission there, and I should help out in selling it too. But just getting the person there, if the sale is successful, I get 10% of the sale of that e-meter, and that's a $5,000 item, which means I'm getting $500.
Okay, so help me out here. This sounds like it causes a problem. And I'll tell you what the problem I see here.
Mm-hmm.
That then puts the e-meter in a private person's hand, being your friend Melissa, who can now go and use the e-meter to audit at home in private.
Yep.
Right? Would that be something that would happen?
Yes, they could go home and audit in private. Yes.
That seems like something that would have been. They wouldn't have even let that happen. The potentiality for that to take place in Scientology. Okay, because that then shifts a power dynamic, meaning the e-meter is one of the only things that Scientology has that's concrete, hands-on, that sets it apart from you name it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the problem that I see there. Now, I'm not defending Scientology in any way, but when there's a proprietary service like that offered by Scientology, like let's say I'm running the thing. I'd never let anybody have an e-meter. I'd make them come down to my shop every day. all the time and say me directly.
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you how they solve that problem. Because Scientology is actually doing what you're suggesting right now in a way. They'll still sell you the e-meter because you need to take it home to audit with it. But you have to plug it into the internet to make it work every now and again. And if you don't, it stops working.
So it's like a membership fee then.
Basically. Yeah, it's a loyalty thing.
Yeah.
You got to keep you and this is actually true right here and now. If you get your money back from Scientology, if you quit Scientology, they want the meter back. And when you buy a new Mark 8 e-meter, the newest, latest, greatest one, and that's the only one they'll sell you now, you also sign a legally binding contract that if you terminate your membership in Scientology, you will give them the meter back and they will give you some money back.
But not as much as you paid, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the price comes down. But that's a condition of being a Scientologist now, and that was never the case before the Mark 8. Before that, you could buy the meter, take it home, play catch with it, do whatever the hell you wanted to with it. Not anymore. And that was Scientology's solution to the independent Scientologists making their own e-meters, as well as going rogue.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they didn't think that through. So now that like you have a lease,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's ridiculous. So did you ever get a bonus as an exec? I mean, the answer is no, but were you ever qualified for one? Was there anything like that when you were up and down the line?
I should clarify, because there were bonuses and there are bonuses. I'm talking, a little like whatever here. The bonuses still do exist in Scientology, just not according to that policy. They've changed a million times since then. There are Christmas bonuses for the staff based on income produced for 3 weeks during December. There is a Sea Org bonus that you get in the Sea Org once a year on Sea Org Day, which is based on longevity, to how long you've been in. If you've been, and let me give you some numbers on this. If you've been in the Sea Org for 20 years, you can expect, I think it's $1,000 bonus. So it's incremental, right? Like the first year you're not getting anything. The second year you're getting like $10. So it builds up over the years, right? You got to be in the Sea Org for a long time before you're going to be getting any big money on the bonuses. And those are the only two bonuses we got, with Sea Org Day and Christmas.
This kind of makes me sad.
Yeah, that's how that works.
I don't have any jealousy for you. Okay, well, thanks for taking my call tonight, and that's all I have.
Awesome.
And I look forward to the videos with Madam Bernstein. So
yes,
y'all have a good night.
Soon. Awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, we do have another call in the queue, and I'm going to pick this one up, even though the show is almost over. This will be our last call for tonight. Hello, is this Nick?
Yes. Hey, how's it going? Wonderful. So I know you got like 8 minutes or whatever to go through this, so I'll make it really quick, and then I'll just listen to your response online. Anyway, so I finally got done with my classes to become a certified chemical dependency technician, and now I can fucking find a real job, a professional job. Now, the question I have, though, is like right now I live in Nebraska, and it's a disgustingly conservative Christian hellhole.
Fair enough.
They don't do much. Yeah, the thing of it is, I mean, they'll build another prison, but they're not going to build another rehab facility for the people who need it. And my kind of question that I'm kind of thinking, it's like, at what point do you decide? Because I'm part of me is kind of thinking, I just want to get certifications and I want to get some of the stuff done, and then I want to get the F out to like Florida or Texas, anywhere that's not this horrible place. But I'm kind of wondering about the wisdom of that, because to a degree, I'm almost thinking, and maybe this is just a little bit manic and Machiavellian or whatever, delusions of grandeur. What if I stay and actually try to become, a legislator or somebody who can influence the society here? Because Nebraska really is about 30 maybe even 50 years behind the times when it comes to certain things.
Yep.
So how do you, and I know there's other people who are trying to get marijuana legalized and other things done and, rehabilitation, that kind of a thing done. I'm kind of just wondering about the wisdom of, is it a fool's errand to stay in a place and, work yourself near to death trying to get things to change? I mean, how do you know if it's worth saving?
Right.
I guess that's kind of my question with that.
Excellent.
And I'll let you answer on air. You have a great night, okay? Bye.
Okay, thanks, Nick, and I will give you an answer on that. All right. Talk to you soon. Okay, let's go ahead and answer that real fast. And here's my answer is you don't save the world alone. It's a full-time job and you need a team, right? Nobody does it. Nobody does it alone. It's trying to operate alone in a hostile environment is, it's the hardest thing you can do. No matter what the context or the situation or whatever is, if you're alone against everybody's going to win. It's one of those things where, there's this wonderful saying that I walked away from, Narcos, the series Narcos, great series on Netflix. We watched all of it. And there was this one line that Edward James Olmos delivers in this episode where this guy who is a DEA agent, right? He's done with the game. And the dad is telling him, yeah, you went out to change the world. You go out to save the world or change the world, and the world changes you is what happens. The world's going to change you. You're not going to change the world is kind of how this is what I'm trying to say here. It's not all useless. It's not all like you can't do it. That's not my message at all. It's get a team. And you get a team by going and finding people who are on the same page as you are, getting together, organizing, and then you'd hit Nebraska or Montana or whatever, and you'd actually hit the ground running, know what you were doing, have an action plan, all of that. Yeah, you can do that by yourself, or you can try to generate that within the state, get it going there. My first thought, and maybe what I might try to do, would be to go join an existing team somewhere with those certifications, get the real world experience I need so I know what I'm going to run into in very practical terms, kind of get that internship side of things, if you know what I mean. And then you'll meet, greet, find out who your peeps are in that culture, in that world that you've now become educated in, and then go tackle and take on the dream of changing a situation or dragging, Nebraska into the 21st century.
The future, yeah.
Yeah, so that's
present.
that's my first thought, in terms of that is I would never recommend anybody go out on their own bat and try to make a massive change like that. I've done it. I've been there. That's why I say that, right? Is I want a team. And then I would feel a lot more certain that I could get something effective done. What are we doing here? We've got back and forth on liberals or something? Mm-hmm. Okay, whatever. Cool, guys. I love the commentary back and forth, actually. I really do. I like the fact that you guys engage in spirited conversation. So please do continue that. Just remember to keep it civil. Okay, the tone scale test and what's it's done. Yeah, we're going to get to all that in some future videos, which actually are not that far away now, guys. Cross my fingers, hold my hope to die. Okay, so let's do some cards and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Critical thinking cards, logical fallacies, cognitive biases, ways we don't think so good. Pick a card, any card.
Maybe. The slippery slope. I'm sure we've probably done that.
Oh, we've covered all of these at this point, I'm sure. But your fallacy, logical fallacy, way you don't think so good. Slippery slope, asserting that if we allow A to happen, then Z will
Definitely
consequently happen too. Therefore, A should not happen. Okay, A to Z. Colin asserts that if we allow children to play video games, then the next thing you know, we'll be living in a post-apocalyptic zombie wasteland with no money for guardrails to protect people from slippery slopes. The writers of these cards were quite clever.
Yes.
So, slippery slope, folks. We see it every day, all day, by the way, on social media.
Oh, yeah.
people make this mistake 24/7, and it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to watch. So call them on it when you can. Educate them on it. It's a good thing for people to know about. And thank you, Xenu, for having affinity for our show.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So today is Friday. I have another week and 2 days to get this done, so you will hear from me again next week, I am sure. No podcast this week, but there will be a Q&A show. I will shoot one tomorrow and get it up. And otherwise, yeah, I'm going to be nose to the grindstone. So thanks very much for all your support, guys. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it enough. It's amazing and it's delightful, and you critics are the best. I really, really, really appreciate you. I hope that you will like and share and get this show out there. I would very, very, very much need your help in growing my channel, so please help me with that. And did you have any last words, baby?
No, I think that's everything.
All right. Well, thank you very much for helping me.
You're welcome.
And thank you, guys. We will see you next week. Bar.
Good night.